or Pastor Nick as I'm known. Thank you so much for joining us tonight on Heart of the Matter. I'm so excited about tonight's broadcast. First of all, it's going to be a two-show segment. The name of the show and what we're going to be talking about is how to win every time. I think the reason why I'm so excited about this is I don't think there's anything I am more singularly passionate about in life than seeing people win, seeing people accomplish their goals, seeing people achieve their dreams, seeing people become better and better every day of their life. I just think it is one of the most awesome things that you could do, self-improvement. Tonight, what I want to do in the first show, in the first segment, is I want to talk about how winners think. And I also want to look at, adversely, how losers think. So what's a winning mentality and what is a losing mentality? So this show is going to just all be about setting ourselves up for the mentality part of it, how the thinking works. Then in the second show next week, I'm going to talk about practicality. So next week's show is going to be the 5 pillars, if you will, right, of how to win every time. What's the ground truth to winning? What are the ingredients to winning? What's the plumb line to winning, if you will? There is a recipe to winning. I want to really give you that recipe. And what I want both of these to be is a resource that you can always reference back to when you get off course or you get off track or maybe things just aren't going good for you. There's always this place can be, Pastor Nick talked about how do winners think, how do losers think, and he talked about these pillars. I don't remember what they are, but I'm going to go back and find that, and I'm going to recalibrate. That's the word, recalibrate my thinking. You got to come to realize that success in life, and the Word of God says it this simple, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. So is he. It doesn't mean that we are going to always be perfect in all we do. But when we begin to have the right mentality, when we begin to have the right form of thinking, the right ground truth, it allows us when we get off track to recalibrate. So tonight, I want to look at how winners think, how losers think. I want to kind of look at this mentality. And since the very beginning of time, society has always praised winners. We could talk about the guy who had the most throwing yards in the NFL. We could talk about the guy who had the most rushing yards in the NFL. We could talk about the guy who had this record. But at the end of the day, when you think about who is the greatest player in NFL history, no matter what you think of them, no matter what you think of the team, how much you like them or you don't, it's Tom Brady. Why? He won the most World Series. That's what people remember him for. When you think back to Jesse Owens, why is that name so synonymous with winning? Yeah, he lost a lot of races. He won a lot of races, but he broke the world record. He's noted for winning. People remember winners. People don't remember losers. People aren't interested in losers. You can't tell the guy who struck out in the bottom of the ninth with the bases loaded that didn't win the team the World Series. But you can remember Joe Morgan when he played for the Phillies and the bases were loaded and he hit it out of the park to win the World Series. So it's just the way that we are. The benefits of winning, that's one of the things I think that we really need to understand. If we're going to understand the mentality of a winner is, first of all, victory itself tastes very sweet. So let's be very clear. Victory, anytime you win, anytime you have victory, anytime you're bettering yourself, it is a sweet thing. There are also many advantages to when you win. There's many advantages when you have success. You start feeling better about yourself when you have success. You start believing more in yourself. Your confidence grows. When you begin to win, your morale and your desire to win becomes greater. Matter of fact, just this past Sunday, the Bucks were getting drummed in the first quarter by the Green Bay Packers. It was 10-0. And then all of a sudden, our defense picked off a pass and ran it in for a touchdown. And just like that, it was 10-7. Man, the whole morale of the Buccaneer team, the organization, instantly changed. And the Bucs went on to win, I think, 35-10. Why? Just because of morale. Just because of how they saw themselves. They started to see that they could do it. So one of the first keys that I want to give you tonight, when it comes to how winners think and how losers think, was something that really helped me early in my sales career. I listened to a gentleman, and man, you can get the book if you want. It's called The Success System That Never Fails by W. Clement Stone. The Success System That Never Fails. If you're in any kind of sales, I recommend you get the book. One of the things I took away from that book that I never forgot that W. Clement Stone taught me was big doors swing on small hinges. Big doors swing on small hinges. What did he mean by that? Everybody knows about the big success. Everybody knows about the big victory. Everybody knows the quarterback and the wide receiver that threw the bomb to win the game. Everybody knows about the guy who hit the home run. But it's all the little plays, all the blocking, all the tackling, all the little things that went into the team collectively coming together to make that event happen that really causes victory. So it's the little things, what I took away from it, is it's the little things that I consistently do in life every day that allows me to win. So winners understand there's going to be ups, there's going to be downs, but keep chopping away, and eventually you'll have the big victory. The way losers think is they always look at how mammoth the mountain is, how big the mountain is, how big the door is. And all they say to themselves is, there's no way that I can lift that door. There's no way I can get over that mountain. They focus, instead of taking another step to the mountain, instead of taking another crack at lifting the door, instead of staying in the process of having victory over that thing, they just look at the thing and they talk about it. They visualize it, how daunting it is, how devastating it is, versus talking about and visualizing what it's going to be like when they win, what it's going to be like when they succeed. You know, the tougher the battle, the greater the victory. Let me say that again. The tougher the battle, the greater the victory. The second thing, when it comes to this mentality of winning, you got to set up specific goals. Winners set up specific goals. You need to know where you are at and where you're going. Before you can get anywhere in life, you got to have that ground truth. You got to know exactly where you're at. You got to know your strengths. You got to know your weaknesses. Why? Well, think about it. If you're in a race, say you're in a foot race, and you don't know where the finish line is, how can you ever win? How can you ever win? So you got to have goals. Winners are very goal-oriented. Winners are people that think about the future. Winners are people that focus on what their desires are, what they're believing for, what they want to achieve. Losers say things like, it doesn't matter. I'll take whatever they give me. I'm going to just do my very best and let the cards fall where they may. It's a loser mentality. That's how losers think. Goals aren't important. I'm just going to work hard. And if I get there, I get there. If I don't, I don't. That's that losing mentality. That's that losing mentality. Remember this. Don't ever forget this. You are only motivated to become what you can imagine yourself to be. Imagine is defined as a vivid description of something specific. Let me say that one more time. We are only motivated to become what we can imagine ourselves to be. Winners talk about their dreams. Losers talk about their nightmares. Winners talk about their dreams. Losers talk about their nightmares. Winners talk about winning. Losers talk about why they can't win. That's the mentality. Don't ever think about it. Don't ever forget that. Number 3, you need to remember this always. Winners take responsibility for their actions. Winners own and take responsibility for their actions. Whether they win or lose, they take responsibility. Winners look outward when they fail. Winners look outward for guidance on how to improve, get better, and get back in the game. When a winner loses, he looks for outward guidance on how to readjust, how to reevaluate, how to recalibrate, and get back in the game. Losers, on the other hand, when they lose, they look outward to see who they can blame for their losing. Losers, when they lose, are people that look outward to blame, see who they can blame for their losing. Let me tell you something. If somebody actually sabotaged you and caused you to lose, does pointing that out make you a winner? It won't. You still lost. They talked about Deflategate. They talked about how Tom Brady deflated the football. They could talk about it all they want. He still got that ring. Can't take that ring off his finger. That's what happens. So don't look outward. Write this down. You ultimately are responsible for winning, so you equally can't blame no one else for losing. You're ultimately the one, you want the credit for winning. You want the reward for winning. So when you lose, don't look outward to blame someone else. You can't blame others for your mistakes. Winners don't make excuses. Winners are people that are very self-aware. That's a big word. Not big in the dictionary, it's a big word in meaning. To be self-aware. We need to be self-aware as people. People that have a losing mentality typically are people that need to be validated also by outward influences. I don't need anybody to validate me. God validates me. My wife validates me. Amen? My record validates me. My work ethic validates me. My character validates me. My integrity validates me. Not whether I win or lose. I win every time. I say that to people and they just never can figure that out. Do you understand that I've never lost a contest? I've never lost a battle. I have never, from the day I got born again, have lost, ever. Why? How is that, Pastor? I made a decision up in my mind. I was either going to win, accomplish the desired outcome, or I was going to learn. I was going to win, I was going to learn. But I never, ever was going to lose. Ever. Make a decision today you're never going to lose again. Make a decision today that you're going to either win or you're going to learn every time. Number 4, I think it is. Winners form winning habits. To be a winner, you must be willing to form winning habits. Sounds strange? I know it does. But that's what you have to do. You have to form a winning habit. Habits are hard to develop. Again, big doors swing on small hinges, right? To form a winning habit, you need to start looking at things from a different perspective. How did I form a winning habit? I made a decision that I was never going to lose. I made a decision that I was either going to win or I was going to what? Learn. So I made a decision I'm always going to win. I'm going to have winning habits. I made a decision that everything I do, no matter how hard it is or no matter how difficult it is, I look at it as a challenge. I don't look at it as an obstacle. I don't look at it as a problem. I don't look at it as a mountain. I just look at it as another challenge. I understand that losing or failing is part of the process. I also understand I'm not judged by the number of times I fail. What did I tell y'all? Nobody remembers the people that fail, but I'm judged by the number of times I succeed. Why? Because people remember people that succeed. People remember people that win. And watch this. In the number of times I succeed is in direct proportion to the number of times I can fail, learn, and keep trying. It's all how you look at it. Are you going to have a loser mentality, or are you going to make a decision today to have a winner mentality? Number 5, you cannot be afraid to fail. You cannot be afraid to fail. I never see failure as failure, but only as an opportunity to practice and perfect my performance. Every failure is an opportunity to get better. Every failure is an opportunity to learn. Every failure is an opportunity to grow. Listen to me. The more painful the failure, the more you're going to be dedicated to learning how not to fail again. How not to fail again. You got to have a plan. You got to be strategic. You got to have goals. You can't be afraid to fail. I define success this way. Success to Pastor Nick is the continuous journey towards predetermined, worthwhile, godly goals. That's what success is to me. It's a journey. It's not an event. Matter of fact, let me skip down to one of my last ones and then I'll come back to the others. Winners like winning, watch this, not just the prizes for winning, from winning. Winners like winning, meaning winners like the process of winning, meaning winners like losing. That sounds weird. There's nothing greater than when you get in a fight and you're a boxer and you go toe-to-toe with a guy for 15 rounds. And you put it all out there. You leave it all in the ring. Whether you lose or not, at that very moment, it might be a little discouraging. But when you go back and you watch the tape and you see how you kept fighting, how you kept overcoming, and how you kept triumphing, and you know, man, I got to just adjust this, I got to adjust that, I got to get that sucker to sign another contract, and then I'm going to whoop him like stink on okra. Yeah, you get your mindset right. You start thinking about it. You keep that taste of how hard you worked to lose in your mouth. You let it drive you to win. You let it put that winning attitude in you. See, it can't just be losers they just want the prize. They want the car, they want the house. They never learn to enjoy the journey. Write that down. Enjoy the journey. They are looking for an event of winning, not a life process of winning. Ooh. They are looking for an event of winning. That's those people you see going like this, up and down. One day they're driving a Mercedes, the next day they're driving a hoopty. Because they never learned the process of, when I was about 20 years old, the IRS came into my office. They told me they were going to garnish all of my funds. I had just written paychecks out for all of my guys. And I remember the guy telling me, he said, son, he said, I'm the closest thing to God on this earth that you're ever going to meet. He said, I could snap my finger and freeze every dollar you have. I could put you out of business. And I'll never forget, I looked right at that joker. And I said to him, you know what, man? I said, you could take every penny I got. You could take my house. You could take my car. You could take my bank account. But you can't take what's up here. Within 1 year, I'll be right back to where I am. Because you could take everything, but you can't eat me. That's what I told him, right to his face. He couldn't rattle me. He couldn't shake me. Why? Because I had a formula for success. I had a formula for success. Your formula is learning to first, I'm going to give you the pillars next week, but the first formula is you got to get your mental right. You got to get your mindset right. You got to make up in your mind you want to win. You got to make up in your mind you want to win. That brings me to my next one. We must be eager if we're going to be winners. Winners are eager every day to learn. Man, I look at these Hearts of the Matters that we do. I look at how many people are watching them. I see the viewership. I know we have a lot more people that know about us in this ministry and what we do than the people that are watching. What does it mean? People aren't eager to learn. Well, Pastor, maybe you're just not a good teacher. No, I'm a great teacher. Let me put it to you that way. I'm a great teacher. But there are people that don't really want to learn. Try to learn something new every day. At the beginning of every year, January, first week of January, Pastor Nick is in Barnes & Noble, and I pick out 12 to 20 books I'm going to read that year. And all throughout the year, I'm ordering books, and I'm reading books. I'm reading a book right now from one of the country's greatest prosecutors on how to ask persuasive questions. Always trying to learn. Always trying to get better. Always trying to improve my game. Ask yourself a question. What was the last book you read? What was the last book you read? How long? And you don't always have to read books. You can just watch these. Are you watching The Heart of the Matter? Are you watching Winning in the Word? Whatever you need to do to feed your spirit, whatever you need to do, that's what you got to do. Where I want to close tonight is two things. Number one, another one on winners versus losers. You got to be willing to take risks. If you can't win if you're not in the game. No risk it, no biscuit. I mean, that's how Bruce Arians says it. You know, when I was a gambler, we used to say you can't win what you don't bet. You can't win if there ain't no money on the table. You got to be willing to put yourself out there. You got to be willing to take risks. Now, they need to be calculated risks. They need to be wise risks. But sometimes you got to be willing to take some risks. I'm watching on the History Channel right now. It's going through all the great people that built this country. You know, the Mellencamp's and the J.P. Morgans and, the Roosevelts and, just the great people that built the country. Every one of them, the Hershey's, the Kellogg's, every one of them were willing to risk everything for what they believe. What are you willing to risk? If you're not willing to risk something, then maybe you don't really want it bad enough. Another one, winners stay focused. You got to learn how to put on the blinders. Stop letting yourself be all over the place. Losers are, they're in this church, they're in that church, they're following this, they're following that. There's no root in them. If you're going to grow, you got to have a foundation. If you're going to grow, you got to have deep roots. If you're going to grow, you got to be consistent. You got to be rooted. Another one, winners are committed people. They're consistent people. Losers, again, they're always hopping around. They're really not committed, right? So tonight I wanted to just take you through and talk about just the mentality again of winning. So you need to take this, you need to watch this over and over again. Watch it at least 3 or 4 times. Just listen to it. Think about the things that I said that are opposite of what you are. It's okay. Listen, the first step in having a winning mentality, again, like I said, is the ground truth. So the first thing you got to do is you got to level with you. If you think like a loser, that's okay. Say, my losing days are over. Jeremiah told me not to lean into the mic. I had to lean into it. I had to give it to you. My losing days are over. Today, you're making a decision. I'm going to begin to retrain my mind to think like a winner. Listen to this broadcast every morning till you see your thinking changing. Because as a man thinketh, so is he. So anyway, I just want to tell you, thank you so much for joining the show tonight. On next Friday at 7 o'clock, same place, we're going to talk about the 5 pillars, what I call the ingredients, what I call the ground truths The plumb line if you're a tile guy. What are the 5 pillars of winning every time? So on next week's show, we're going to talk about these 5 strategic things that you can implement into your life. Once you establish that winning mindset, you can now implement these 5 areas into your life that's going to guarantee victory every time in your life. Amen? So I am just so excited about, like I said, this series. I'm so excited about the show next week. Look forward to seeing you again next Friday, 7 o'clock, when we get to the heart of the matter.
Thanks for watching tonight. If this show has been a blessing to you, help us be a blessing to others. There are 2 major ways to do that. The first way is your financial support. We'd love for you to partner with us. With as little as $10, you can help us reach about 1,000 people. That's pretty awesome, right? Every dollar helps us get this message to the world. So just go to ltmorlando.org/THM to give today. The second way, you can show your support by liking, sharing, and subscribing on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram at LTM Orlando. Your support on social goes a long way. Thanks again for watching tonight, and we'll see you next week on The Heart of the Matter.